Alternative health scams are nothing new. The 20th century was littered with scam medical devices and miracle cures that only existed to separate unsuspecting victims from the contents of their wallets. And hey, let's say you're a World War I veteran trying to deal with your shell shock. Why wouldn't you pick up a Virex ozone generator to cure what ails you? Hair loss getting you down? No problem. We slap a vacuum chamber on that shiny dome of yours. We'll suck those stubborn hairs right out into the sunshine where they belong. Suffering from aches, pains, asthma, or even the dreaded rheumatism? Slap this radioactive pad on, and I'm sure that'll do something, right? But today, of course, we know better than to be taken in by these low-grade hucksters. We're enlightened people of the 21st century. We have access to more knowledge and technology than any generation that has ever come before us could even imagine. We can communicate instantaneously with the touch of a screen and... Oh, that's the President of the United States sharing an AI MedBed scam video.
Breaking now. President Donald J. Trump has announced a historic new healthcare system. The launch of America's first MedBed hospitals and a national MedBed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own MedBed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of MedBed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon.
Okay, I guess we gotta talk about this now. The concept of a healing bed isn't necessarily new. Science fiction has been showing off miracle medical pods for decades, from Star Wars' back to tanks to the sarcophagus from Stargate, the med bays of Elysium, and even that bed that turned Jason Voorhees into a sweet cyborg in Jason X. That one happens to be my favorite, by the way. Look at this boy. He's the best boy. Look at how happy he is. Even outside of these few examples, the fictional landscape is absolutely littered with medbeds as plot devices.
You sure he's gonna be okay?
The nanomolecular functionality is instantaneous. His cells don't know they're bonding with simulacra.
She is creating tissue.
These tropes, from movies and TV, planted the idea in the heads of some conspiracy theorists that such technology not only could exist, but already does. You see, there's a concept in conspiracy circles called predictive programming or soft disclosure. According to conspiracy theorists, the worlds of fiction we're presented with in pop culture aren't simply art or mass entertainment, but instead deliberate previews of real events planted by hidden elites. The theorists claim that governments, secret societies, and corporations use mass media to condition the public to accept future policies, technologies, or crises by slipping these images into fiction ahead of time.
The Simpsons is the biggest example of how the media predicts the future and prepares us for it. In Season 6, Episode 19, the character named Lisa talks to Marge through a picture phone in the future. In today's world, this very picture phone is known as FaceTime.
The idea is that the public will become desensitized so that when the real-world event occurs, it feels familiar rather than shocking. MedBed conspiracies have been floating around the cultic milieu for some time before they metastasized into the absolute scammer haven they've become today. But to understand what hypercharged it to the presidential levels we see currently, briefly and unfortunately, we have to talk about QAnon. The QAnon conspiracy theory began in late 2017 on the anonymous message board 4chan, where a poster calling themselves Q claimed to be a government insider with top-level security clearance. Q's cryptic posts, or drops, suggested that a secret cabal of elites controlled world events, and that Donald Trump was engaged in a hidden battle to expose and defeat them. Over time, these vague predictions gave rise to an entire mythology that absorbed older conspiracy tropes from the Satanic Panic to deep state paranoia and adapted them to the digital age. Even as Q's specific predictions consistently failed, the movement endured by reframing missed prophecies as proof of hidden timelines, deeper secrecy, or the continued need to trust the plan, the mantra often continually spouted by QAnon adherents, which allows them to basically ignore the fact that they've been wrong about everything for, well, at least an entire decade. As the QAnon worldview spread, it proved remarkably flexible, incorporating new claims that appealed to the community's hopes and their anxieties. One of these was the idea of MedBeds, fantastical machines said to be capable of curing all disease, regenerating tissue, even reversing aging.
Picture a world where diseases are cured at the quantum level, injuries are healed instantaneously, and aging is reversed, all while our energy fields are aligned, promoting inner peace. This vision is not a distant dream, but a promise made possible by the MedBeds, believed to be gifts from the Galactic Federation. These technologies are not merely medical devices, but tools for awakening, aligning us with greater cosmic energies and preparing us for the next steps in our evolution. All illnesses, scars, and existing ailments will be replaced with a higher dimensional form of health, and all replacement hips and joints will be cured and perfect. You may use them while you're sleeping, not only to heal or reset, but to optimize and recalibrate your DNA. There are many ways in which MedBeds are very beneficial when utilized for quantum healing processes of body, mind, and soul.
Originally surfacing in fringe New Age circles and UFO lore, MedBeds were folded into the QAnon narrative as hidden technology suppressed by elites. Believers began to claim that once the cabal was defeated, MedBeds would be released to the public, ushering in a golden age of perfect health.
And there's different types of MedBeds. Each country has a certain date and release of their own MedBeds, and they're going to release it. And I know somewhere in the moon base, they have a lot of MedBeds that they're going to release also to the people that work in space and are still in our solar system missions. So, you know, of course, Earth is going to have a portion of that as well.
This turned the conspiracy into more than just a story about hidden enemies. It became a promise of miraculous salvation for those in need. I'd probably be remiss at this point if I didn't pause for a second to address people from countries where universal healthcare is a thing. So, obviously you're looking at this and going, are you guys okay? No, we're definitely not okay. Our healthcare environment is so bad, so disastrous, that a non-zero number of the residents of the United States literally think it's more likely that aliens from outer space will show up and help deal with their health issues than for the government to actively do something for the benefit of the populace. So, things aren't great. The adoption of MedBeds highlights QAnon's deep mistrust of experts and established institutions. Mainstream doctors, scientists, and medical researchers were reinterpreted as villains working to conceal cures and perpetuate suffering for profit. By contrast, anonymous posters, YouTubers, and self-styled digital soldiers within the QAnon community were elevated as the only reliable sources of truth. This inversion of authority allowed believers to dismiss all contradictory evidence as part of the cover-up, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of mistrust where the lack of credible proof paradoxically strengthened the conspiracy's appeal. The movement offered its followers both an enemy to fight and a utopian reward to anticipate, bridging political paranoia with spiritual yearning. The promise of hidden technology waiting to heal the world resonates precisely because it rejects the slow, incremental, and often imperfect progress of real science in favor of sudden miraculous revelation. For many adherents, that mistrust in experts isn't a flaw. It's the very foundation of their belief, and once you have a community primed to doubt reality itself, it's only a matter of time before opportunistic scammers show up ready to sell adherents the very same comforting lie they've all been publicly praying for.
My son has level 4 cancer, and I was hoping he would be able to get help. He is still very much in the dark about what's going on and believes I'm in a cult. Shirley, you are in a cult. You have a different reality to everybody else. It's a beautiful cult.
Enter one Sky Prince. As soon as MedBeds came to prominence in both the QAnon and New Age communities, she quickly became the most visible proponent of the fantasy.
We haven't had a MedBed update for a long time. And I literally got out of a conference call half an hour ago. MedBeds are only a few short weeks away to the public. Now, timelines have changed. Okay, complete and total overhaul change. Everything's changing up. But they want the technology released to the public by Christmas. We're talking the December Christmas, not all the other timeline Christmases. You know, the timeline that we've been on, that everyone believes we've been on. So December 25th in the timeline we've been on for many years. Not the new one that people claim we're on, but the old one.
Prince presented herself as a whistleblower and insider, claiming access to secret 5D medbeds that could cure virtually anything, from chronic illness to aging itself.
Originally, when I started figuring out that I was part of the secret space program, I felt that I'd only done about 6 years, but I have recently found out that it's actually been closer to 80 years. And how do they do this, and how do we stay the same age? Well, when they bring you back, they age regress you, and age regression is part of the MedBed procedures. Without age regression, I would be over 100.
She blended QAnon talking points with UFO disclosure, prosperity gospel, and New Age spirituality, pitching herself as the bridge between the suppressed technology of the future and the faithful believers who just needed to hold on a little bit longer. So I guess I should explain the actual outline of the scam that Sky is running. Now, you might think that she just says, give me money, I give you medbeds. But no, it's a little more complicated than that. Part of the entire medbed mythology is the fact that the government getting these beds from aliens or extra-dimensional beings, of course, are going to give these technologies to the populace for free. Remember, this is a narrative about the start of a new golden age where everything will be exactly the way it's supposed to be. So, of course, in that sort of idyllic situation, everyone can have whatever they want. So Sky can't come out and just say, give me money for medbeds. Instead, what she says is, the medbed technology requires you to have a frequency vibration on a fifth dimensional level. If you're saying, what does that mean? Oh, that's a whole different video. It's basically a conspiratorial trope in which people take the idea of enlightenment, the idea of spiritual enlightenment, and turn it into a scale. They call it 3D, where you and I live. That's where normies are. 4D, you're starting to become awake. 5D, you're enlightened. So, Sky's pitch goes as such. Effectively, if you get training from her, which she'll give you pricing on if you email her, then you can raise to 5D, which is necessary to interface with the medbeds. So she's not charging you for the medbeds, she's charging you for classes to allow you to use the medbeds. I've also seen other scammers charge registration fees, and I think her new thing is a university, basically, where if you sign up, she'll train you in the usage of medbeds if you want to run your own medbed center. Basically, I guess what I'm trying to get across is it's a bunch of woo-woo stuff where she pretends the medbeds are free, but goes out of her way to talk about how important this spiritual enlightenment is for the medbeds, and if you just give her money, well, don't worry. Once the medbeds come, you'll be first in line, because you'll already be attuned to the higher frequencies necessary in order to utilize them. Again, I know it's jabberwocky, it's nonsense, but, you know, it's a scam predicated upon people already having been inundated into a heavily distorted conspiratorial worldview, so a lot of it is just kind of weirdly esoteric nonsense. I wish it was more solid. I wish I could just say to these people, like, none of this is real. But once you're so deep into it that your entire understanding of, like, the cosmology of the universe involves referring to, like, your vibrations, you're just stuck. I don't know what to do. Anyway, probably here's another stupid clip of some shit she said.
So, what does a multi-dimensional being mean? It simply means that you have the ability to tap into multi-dimensions. It literally means that you can astral travel, you can tune into the spirit world, you can be part of multiple timelines all at the same time. Now, it goes much more complicated than this, but I'm watering it down so that we can take it one step at a time, so that we can understand one bit, and then we'll give more information to understand the next step, then the next step. Because if we give too much detailed information all at the same time, then people go, huh? What? I don't get it. So we take it one step at a time.
For her desperate followers, her confident delivery and mystical framing made the impossible sound not only plausible, but imminent. The MedBed fantasy had shifted from conspiratorial daydream into financial exploitation. Sky's followers weren't just vulnerable to scams. The entire conspiratorial environment they had submerged themselves in online had primed them to be taken advantage of.
So I've decided to start a group for military medbed training. Now, this is for everybody who wants to work in a medbed center, who wants to work with the medbeds, and everything else that goes with it.
Eager to invest in a vision of miraculous healing that experts supposedly conspired to suppress, all the scammers had to do was to claim to have the keys to that miraculous future, and the money started flowing in.
This is something that I've discussed with the Venusians, especially Amun-Ra. I enjoy shopping from somebody who has never had any money, like no more than $100 in their purse. Because I've had horses. They'll keep you broke. I have a little bit of money because I'm doing a lot of sessions right now, private sessions. So I have some money in my wallet.
The last thing I wanted to touch on with Sky before we move on to the other scammers is she finds herself in a perpetual cycle. She's been scamming people for years based on the same promises that medbeds are just around the corner. And what I find so cosmically sick and funny about the whole thing is every time it gets close to another prediction point, she will inevitably blame her audience. She'll say, oh, people were sharing videos, or too much got out, so we need to move the date back. The goalposts, of course, always move. The medbeds can never be here today. It always has to be soon, because the moment it turns out that these things aren't real, as we all know they aren't, the money faucet will turn off. So effectively it turns into a game of Sky promising impossibility to her audience, and then when things get a little too hot, when the audience starts pushing her on exactly when it's happening, she'll freak out at them and claim it's their fault that it's taking so long. It's really depressing to watch, to be honest.
After specifically requesting, even putting in the title, do not share. So the training is cancelled, and all the videos are now private, so no one can view them. I'm doing this for my own protection and yours, and when people cannot respect you, your request, they don't respect you, so they don't need your information. Which is a shame, because it affects everybody else because of a few rotten apples. It just really, really pisses me off. It really does. I give my time freely, 18 hours a day, to everybody. And just a simple request, do not share, goes completely out the window. You know, it just really shows who people are. And now everyone has to suffer.
Once it became clear that there was money to be made in the space, a cottage industry of scammers rushed in to fill the demand. Telegram channels and Facebook groups began advertising medbed sessions for hundreds or even thousands of dollars.
My name is Dr. Lou Hilliard. I am the owner and inventor of Life Force MedBeds. I'd like to welcome you to the Life Force movement, where you can discover your life force by tapping into your life source. So what all comes with the MedBed is you get your oxygen diffuser, brain wave measuring band, orgone blanket, eye massager, massaging gun, grounding sheets, grounding blanket, an LED infrared mat. This is your oxygen diffuser. It's hooked directly into your oxygen concentrator that you can purchase separately. The oxygen that's coming out on this diffuser is 96% oxygen. This is our flow time bioresonance brainwave measuring band. This band measures the brainwave function when you are meditating and visualizing health.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, I didn't write a lot about this guy in the script, so I don't have anything to say here, but he's just hilarious, so here's some of the funny clips I found of him. You're welcome.
The MedBed pod is made from a PVC hypoallergenic fire retardant material that has been painted and coated with EMF blocking paint. So we're able to block out most bad EMFs like 5G and 4G. Way to help your body and help you with your ascension and during your meditation. What I like to do is work from the ground chakra all the way up to the crown chakra during my meditation when I'm inside the med bed. So what we have here is we have my assistant here, Lily, and she is inside the med bed. And what's going on is we've created a healing environment that there are radiation and radio waves that go through our house and what have you. But when we get into the med bed, if you take a look, that it's able to, the sheets block all radiation and all radio wave. Money flows to you even effortlessly and easily to you. One of the great things of our med bed is that you're able to do the normal chores that you would want to do, whether it be work or answering calls or what have you. It's up to you what you want to do. This is our anti-aging arch here. It has a multitude of 5 different colors. We like to pinpoint exactly where we're going to be putting frequencies, so areas of injury, we use the headphone to induce a frequency into the area that we want to address.
Thank you for indulging me. Anyway, back to the other scammers, who have all sorts of grifts. One group of scammers in particular offered remote healings where clients simply lay in their own bed while supposedly the technology of 5D med beds healed them from another realm.
This is an important message. We are a team of hackers and we have captured the quantum frequency of MedBed 9010. We believe that this technology should not enrich a person, but should benefit humanity, for free. That's why we're offering you a free download of MedBed 9010 for life. To do this, all you need to do is watch 5 seconds of quantum encryption at the end of the video, then watch 5 seconds on your bed. The download will be completed. End of message.
Others promised early access lists, pay-to-join waiting groups, or connections to secret clinics hidden from mainstream medicine. The pitches vary, but the structure is always the same. Take a conspiracy-primed audience, offer them a taste of forbidden technology, and wrap it all in the language of secrecy and exclusivity. In an ecosystem already trained to distrust experts, any lack of proof becomes part of the selling point, the very thing that makes the fantasy feel real.
I think it's extremely important that you as a visitor of this website, who wants to learn about our research, know exactly where we stand. How do we see things? How do we research? I have tried to make this clear already in the trailer. Research and science as they exist today are in my view highly manipulative. There may be a few researchers worldwide left who research for the sake of researching and not for the sake of the result. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. Studies are being faked by the dozen. I love being a researcher, however, I am a private researcher. I am not a scientist myself. I haven't gone to university. From today's point of view, I have to say this is almost something to be happy about. Because science, as it exists today, is an elitist group. Those people praise each other. They tell each other how great they all are, and then they also influence laws. Popular business enterprises influence politics. One could almost say they infiltrate them. Fortunately, I don't know too much of that either. I can only see where we stand today.
Alternative health scams have always thrived on the promise of miraculous shortcuts, cures the mainstream doctors are too blind, greedy, or corrupt to recognize. QAnon and its offshoots simply supercharged that dynamic by reframing medical authority as an enemy to be distrusted and ignored. For believers, the absence of peer-reviewed studies or clinical trials isn't a warning sign, it's proof the elites are hiding the truth. That upside-down logic creates a perfect storm, not just a pool pool of ready marks, but a stage where conspiracy influencers can rise to prominence. Some are outright grifters, like Sky, of course, cashing in on an audience primed by social media. But others seem to genuinely believe their own pitch, victimizing people through the very scam they themselves have fallen for without even realizing it. And that is where Sean comes in.
So we're here today to talk about MedBeds, MedBed technology. What are MedBeds?
Sean Callahan is the proprietor of USA MedBeds and Healthy Life Technology, a refurbished medical equipment dealer operating out of Richmond, Virginia and San Diego, respectively. Sean got his start selling actual medical equipment, hospital beds, x-ray machines, that sort of thing, to individuals in medical facilities, both in the US and abroad.
Probably have built, not physically doing the construction, but equipped well over 15 to 20 hospitals in Africa, Mexico, Latin America, all over the world.
There's nothing wrong with that, of course. Selling people real used medical equipment is a perfectly legitimate business exercise. But apparently, selling beds that just hold patients wasn't exciting enough. Sean wanted beds that could heal your soul through Wi-Fi.
And it's actually that's gotten me into this whole MedBed subject, being in the medical equipment industry for the last 15 years. About 4 years ago, I launched basically a whole nother set of technology that's wellness technology, which is energy and frequency based technology, which also has just a massive scope of things that it includes. But it all stemmed from these med beds. And what are med beds?
One day you're selling x-ray machines, the next you're selling magic light beds. Feels like a jump from radiology to vibe medicine. But it is 2025, so I guess I don't know what I expected. At first glance, Sean looks like just another grifter cashing in on desperate people looking for relief from real pain and illness. But as I dug deeper, it turns out it's a lot more complicated than that.
When people hear med beds, the first thing they're thinking is, I'm messed up. I've gotten some diagnosis of some kind that's physical. I need help. I need a med bed. And I totally get that. And like I said, I deal every day with people that are really in serious shape. And, I guess for me is if the real med beds aren't here and I don't know when they're coming, and I deal with people on a daily basis that are really in serious health issues, what is available right now, right? So that's kind of where we're going to kind of move this into.
I spent months combing through practically every video on his channel, and the further I got, the more convinced I became that Sean actually believes a lot of what he's selling.
I've heard a lot about med beds. I heard a lot about health and wellness technology, but I wanted to see if there was technology that's available that can help these people that have been given these really bad, progressive diseases, or given these types of outcomes where there's really not a lot of hope.
He's the conspiratorial answer to the axiom that one should never get high on their own supply. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I just think that's incredibly fascinating.
And so the goal with a lot of these technologies is to see if there is something that can help get that nerve tissue connected and help this person walk again, or help the person with ALS to get the movement or slow down the advancement of ALS, or to deal with neuropathy, or deal with muscular dystrophy, or deal with multiple sclerosis, and all these different diseases that, quite frankly, in the last 50 years, I have not seen a lot of progress being made in that.
Through your own unrestrained wants and misgivings about the world, you can trap yourself and everyone around you in a system of your own design that takes and takes from everyone and from your own dignity as a human being, only to satisfy an egotistical fantasy of being a fantastical healer with the ability to cure things that medical science cannot.
So, James, this is definitely one of the most popular pieces of actual MedBed type technology that's available. These are the plasma energy spheres. These actually pick up and advance the multi-wave oscillator technology. Now, the plasma energy spheres are basically sending centipedal, meaning spiraling inward signals into the middle. Riley being in the middle where those two signals collide, that creates a scalar energy field. and all the negative frequencies are removed and all the positive frequencies basically sit in this field. Now, being that this is plasma energy, that energy field becomes toroidal, meaning it's like the shape of a heart. It circles down and back and forth. And as it does that, it connects into the frequency that the DNA runs on, and thus it becomes a mindful and intelligent energy field.
More succinctly, Sean wants to help people so badly, he's willing to hurt them to do it. His talk about military medbeds reverse engineered from alien tech seems sincere.
How they're being put together really gets to what we would call off-planet technology. I would just say it's extraterrestrial technology. Basically, the MedBed technology comes from off-planet technology. A lot of these other civilizations are hundreds of thousands, if not a million or more years advanced than the Earth is. So there's a lot of very powerful technology that's out there.
And he comes across as genuinely concerned for the people under his so-called care.
All right, so I'm hanging out with Len and Marie, and you folks are basically my neighbors down in Virginia Beach.
Yep.
And you're back to visit us. This is the second round of using the technology. And Len, you're doing it to kind of help recover from a stroke that you had.
That's right.
It's been a real pleasure to meet both of you. It's also really enjoyable to watch the journey and watch this recovery process. And I'm greatly appreciative for you to be here, and thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you. We appreciate you, Sean, more than we can say.
Yeah, God bless you.
Even when the tech itself sounds shaky, Sean leans heavily on something he does believe in without question: the law of attraction.
It's very important that with the mind, the outcome that you're looking for is already present and you're living as if it's already occurred. You're not reaching, stretching, hoping. That's all weak mindset. You have to go push past that. Is the mind needs to be programmed that it's the success that you're looking for, the outcome that you're looking for has already occurred, and you have to visualize that. But not only that, you have to feel into it as if it's happened. If you think that it's happened and you're still feeling fear, stress, anxiety, you're getting what you're feeling. So it's really important from a mindset perspective to have that adjusted, and it takes time. You know, normally speaking, for most of us, we've been programmed the opposite, and we're kind of just going haphazardly through life and getting situations that we are actually creating ourselves. And that's done by how we project everything from our mind.
The law of attraction, the New Age idea popularized this century by garbage tier airport gift shop book The Secret, is that your thoughts literally shape reality. Think positive and you'll attract good things. Think negative and you basically ordered disaster off the cosmic menu.
Some of the greatest information and knowledge that we put out on the channel is how to focus the mind to manifest and create your own living reality. And so with any type of situation, whether it's manifestation or recovery or healing or any of these different things, the number one component that must be brought into the mix is the mind. And so already being in a situation where you're assuming the outcome, you're assuming the reality has already happened, and you live in that reality, and you allow your mind and your brain and your pineal and all these gifts that you're given to basically adjust the third dimensional reality around you. You're basically programming the mind to not get the desired outcome, to already live as if the desired outcome is already present tense. And you must assume the outcome that you're looking for is already present tense. There's a huge difference. It's very subtle. I want to be a millionaire, or I want to be healthy again. That's a difference between I want to and I'm already healthy and I feel amazing and this is my lifestyle. And what happens when you assume that in the mind, the third dimensional reality adjusts to that.
It gets marketed as universal law like gravity, but with vision boards. The catch is, there's no evidence for it, and it usually ends up blaming people for their own misfortune. If you're sick, broke, or struggling, it's because you didn't manifest hard enough. That victim blaming wrapped in woo makes it a perfect fit for the wellness to conspiracy pipeline. Sean, of course, buys into all of this wholeheartedly. From what I've seen, he seems to think that even if the machines he sells don't literally work, the belief that they inspire will heal people anyway, as if positive vibes alone could stand in for trained medical professionals. But while the placebo effect is real, it has its limits, and no amount of manifestation ever is going to be able to stand in for the expertise of real medical professionals administering real medical treatments, no matter how much New Age weirdos wish it would. So Sean is selling people hope, dangerous false hope, but hope nonetheless. What shape does that hope take? Well, you'll be glad to know that Sean, of course, makes no medical claims, as he himself will admit. That would be illegal.
Since a lot of the technology is not yet classified as medical, as you can understand, we don't make any medical claims. We don't claim to, get into that. And so for anybody that does have a medical condition, as a disclaimer, consult a physician and see a professional person. But
the FDA defines medical device claims as claims that an instrument, apparatus, implement, machine, contrivance, implant, in vitro reagent, or other similar or related article, including a component, part, or accessory which is intended for use in the diagnosis of disease or other conditions, or in the cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease, in man or other animals, or intended to affect the structure of any function of the body of man or other animals, and which does not achieve its primary intended purpose through chemical action. So basically, if you're claiming that your device can diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or injury to the body, those claims need to be evaluated and approved by the FDA. Luckily, as we all know, Sean never makes medical claims.
And the Earth is a big battery, and you are a literal electrical creature. Number one, you fill your body with electrons, you reduce inflammation, you start to see improvements with your blood declustering. It reduces the amount of pressure put on the heart to push clump blood through your organs.
a Tesla paddle, which is technically an oscillator that you can put on the body, very good for relieving pain. Part of the body resonates with a different frequency. So those 12 frequencies, each part of the body absorbs the frequency that resonates with that. And then something as simple as a patch, a crystal patch, which I wear, which is basically used to activate dormant stem cells. And this basically is something that you can just lay down, like Riley's using it right now, for 15-20 minutes a day to maintain good health and or restore yourself back into homeostasis if for any reason there's something going on health-wise with you. We've had people come in that have had heart issues, and one gentleman had limited function of the heart, and so we ran frequencies for the heart. But in this set of frequency sets, you can run it for any body part. There's a chakra cascade that charges the field of the body. Now this does a lot of different things. One of the main things it does is it cleanses the lymphatic system. It helps push and discharge the body, cleaning out the lymphatic system, cleaning out toxic material. But anybody familiar with far infrared, chromotherapy, and all these different technologies, they're all incorporated into one. But you can target internal organs, you can target external parts of the body, many different parts of the brain. This is very good for a whole host of different things, including declustering your blood. And basically what this does is this sends out far infrared, terahertz frequency, heat, and also quantum energy. We've had hundreds of amazing testimonials for pain, discomfort, and all different types, actually even hair growth. And then you have the terahertz mattress, and the terahertz frequency is a frequency that runs its optimal frequency for cell and cell vibration rates.
And those frequencies basically go back and forth, and it'll run a cascade of frequencies in different parts of the body that you're wanting to put attention to. And these are basically the healing frequencies that are the bodies are most receptive to, and the ones that basically do the most benefit.
So for the Wave Watch, for me, I have used it for mouth, teeth, and gums. I've had problems with teeth issues, and then I've also used it for headache. I've used it for fever. It has weight loss frequency sets, so I run that for the weight loss. a lot of detox that's in there. So I do thyroid detox. There's frequency sets for candida. I run a lot of frequency sets for parasites. Also has parasite frequency sets, double up using those and this, but usually I run the frequency sets for parasites at night, run them all night long. There's frequency sets in there for men, women, enlarged prostate. There's ones in there for hair loss. There's frequency sets in there for kids. A lot of frequency sets for things like Lyme disease, ADHD, pretty much anything and everything. So,
oh, except those claims. Yeah, he does this a lot. He does this constantly. That's not even most of them. That's not even from tons of videos. That's from like 3 or 4 videos I put together. He has hundreds of videos on his channel. It's so bad. And the worst part is, I know the FDA is asleep at the wheel right now, so nothing's gonna happen. I guess we just gotta make fun of it. I don't know. I need some kind of catharsis. Now, of course, Sean isn't claiming to have actual alien technology. That would be silly. Though judging by the decor at his center, you would think you'd stumbled onto the set of a low-budget sci-fi original movie. Instead, he claims to deal in technology that is inspired and based upon the alien MedBeds, but legally distinct.
The term MedBeds and the release of the government MedBeds is certainly the hope of all of us. We can't wait and can't, have that day come soon enough. However, as somebody that takes calls every single day from people that are really messed up, and you can imagine all the different reasons that people need ICU equipment at home, I need to provide solutions and I need to provide options for people today. I'm not in the situation or I don't have the luxury of saying just hang around and wait for the med beds.
I think the saddest thing about clips like that, assuming Sean is not just a cynical grifter that happens to be a better performer than the others, and to be clear, if you think he is a cynical grifter, that's fair. I'm not telling you you're wrong if you believe that. But to me, the impression I get is he's a man who desperately wants to help other people. He, like most people in the world, especially right now, feels like our ability to make change has slowly been eroded by the systems around us taking power away over time. So he wants to help people so bad, he's willing to self-delude in order to give himself that sense of control, that sense of feeling like he's a part of a community and that he has a part to play. Again, what he's doing is wrong. He's harming people. No matter how many disclaimers he gives, we all know how this works. Alt health people don't go into it as a supplement typically to traditional medical care. Usually, they completely eschew modern medicine and instead pursue these sort of alternative treatments. So when Sean, again, potentially is trying to feel like he's able to help people and give them hope, he's putting them in a situation where they're going to be in danger, where they could risk their health or even their lives. So what do you actually get for your money? The bed lights up, it vibrates, it even has you breathing ozone, which, minor detail, is apparently hazardous for your health, but it is possible that I'm too much of a normie to understand this intense healing experience.
Now I'm going to go through, it's a very easy piece of technology to use. It's basically on-off switches. The first switch we're going to activate is cell resonance. The second one we're going to activate is ozone. Then we're going to do negative ions. And then we're going to do vibration. And as Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think energy, frequency, vibration. And so this technology is incorporating all those different things in there. Now, vibration can be adjusted. And I know that Catherine likes vibration. So we're going to go ahead and crank up the vibration a little bit on that.
The whole presentation feels like a magic trick, flashing lights, sci-fi readouts, and 3D body models designed to make you feel like something scientific is happening. Which it isn't, by the way. If anyone needs to hear that, it's literally an infrared sauna cabin. It says, right here, on the screen, infrared sauna. Does Sean just not know what a sauna is? In case you're curious, by the way, Sean allows people to come in and try his MedBeds for free. After all, it's effectively a dealership where you come in and look at stuff you might want to buy. On his website, the price of a MedBed is almost $20,000. which would be bad enough, except the exact same infrared sauna cabin they're pretending is a MedBed shows up on Alibaba for a fraction of that. So yeah, kinda starting to think it's a scam. I should point out at this point that, well, the MedBed itself is certainly a scam. I don't know if Sean knows that. Like I said, I think he thinks he's doing a good thing. I don't know how much he's being charged for these. He gets them from a guy named Baxter from Florida, I guess. Again, it'd probably be an entirely different video to get into that guy. But Sean is accidentally scamming people potentially because he's being scammed by John Backstar. So it's just kind of grifts all the way down.
Can you plug that thing in real quick and just...
Yeah.
Because that thing is, like, super cool.
Yeah, that's violet ray is the highest frequency. So we're giving the body the purple light. Remember the song Purple Rain?
Yep.
But it actually is a lot like that, you know. This is electrical healing, and no one created it. This comes free in our environment. Lightning bolts hit the ground.
Outside of the MedBed itself, Sean sells a whole variety of scam products meant to trick the sick, the elderly, and most importantly, himself, into thinking he's providing a beneficial healing service instead of mentally masturbating to the thought of selling cancer patients drop-shipped hair dryers for hundreds of dollars. I got one of these, by the way. It's not even a good hair dryer. It was like $30 on Amazon, and when you buy it, you get an email from like the FDA being like, hey, this is a scam. Don't use this to heal you. Thanks, FDA. I guess you're still good for something. Seriously though, it's just a hair dryer, and I actually feel bad for a lot of his marks because inevitably, certainly, the placebo effect has a large effect on how these people are perceiving the results of these devices. But a lot of these people are just older folks who are dealing with pain or soreness, and it's a heat gun, you know? It's a hair dryer, so it's providing heat to the area and probably at least temporarily relieving their pain. If any of his victims see this video, let me tell you, you don't have to spend $400 on one of these things. You could just get a hair dryer that isn't crap, like at the store, or you could buy a heating pad. On the bright side, you also won't have to interact with Sean, so that's good. So what else is Sean selling? Why, plasma water, of course.
So we're doing a video on the ways to enhance the water with terahertz energy, with the terahertz frequency, but we're adding a whole nother level to it with the plasma energy water. These little vials get infused with plasma energy, and they basically keep that energy running for our lifetime. You can tape them onto like a glass or something clear plastic. This is BPA free. And what it does is it infuses that plasma energy from that vial into that water. I have different ones here. I have Clear Mouth. I use that to rinse with, also as almost like a mouthwash. And then this is Superman, which is an energy plasma. And now what we're going to do is we're basically going to take our terahertz wand and we're going to point the water. And so when you're charging the terahertz water, you just put it straight up and down. You don't put the unit in the water. You're just going to charge it, and you're going to charge it for about 30 seconds. And I did obviously charge it a little bit before the video, so I wouldn't have to do the full 30 seconds to do that.
The man's blow drying his water. How do you expect me to write jokes for this? There's too many weird specific claims here for me to tackle, so if you want to pause the video to see how many things they're claiming this magic water can help with, go for it. I'm probably just a hater, though, in desperate need of some meanness buster plus. I think even beyond the MedBed, the scam device that bothers me the most is the bioscanner. Basically, they take you into a room, sit you down, put headphones on you, and play music or tones. Meanwhile, the headphones are hooked up to a computer showing a variety of cycling medical diagrams with flashing pulses overlaid. The noise coupled with the visual gives the impression that the device is doing something. The claim is that it's sending signals into the body to find, quote, frequency imbalance, which means nothing, by the way. Then once it detects this, quote, imbalance, it claims to send frequencies into the body to repair the alleged imbalance. Of course, again, accompanied by audio and visual sleight of hand. Going back to the metaphor of the magic trick, this entire device exists to give the impression of action. The lights and sounds all imply a process is happening, when in reality, the surface level aesthetic function is the only thing that the machine is designed to do in the first place. What makes this especially troubling is that Sean doesn't come across as a cynical con artist. He genuinely seems to believe in what he's selling, and in some ways, that makes him more dangerous. A grifter can be scared off, shut down, or move on once the money dries up, but a true believer, they think they're fulfilling a mission. They'll never stop. Sean isn't just selling devices, he's selling the idea that he's a healer, a provider, someone with a higher purpose in his community, and that conviction means he'll keep pushing these nonsense machines, not just for profit, but for validation. In the end, he's not only giving desperate people false hope, he's giving it to himself. And that's the tragic heart of all of this. MedBeds aren't just a goofy sci-fi fantasy or another chapter in the long history of snake oil. They're a mirror showing us how deep distrust, desperation, and the need to believe in something bigger can be weaponized against people who are already suffering. For every grifter cashing in, there are also true believers like Sean, who convince themselves they're saving lives when all they're really doing is selling stage props dressed up as miracles. The danger isn't just the money lost on disco tanning beds and plasma water. It's the way these scams pull people further away from real medical care, real community, and real solutions. They offer a comforting illusion of control in a world that often feels overwhelming, and to someone in pain, that illusion can be irresistible. But I will say, if there's one lesson here, it's that hope is a powerful thing. It deserves to be treated with care, not commodified into a pay-per-session light show, because when false hope takes the place of real help, people don't just lose their money, they lose their time, their health, and sometimes their lives. Scams like MedBeds aren't really about the machines or the magic water. They're about the same thing snake oil has always sold: comfort. When life feels overwhelming, painful, or hopeless, it's human nature to reach for something simple. A story where there's a villain to blame, a miracle cure to wait for, or a guru with all the answers. Whether it's QAnon, New Age woo, or even me making this video and hoping it'll somehow make me feel better, the appeal is the same. A comforting lie that makes a chaotic and unfair world feel neat and under control. But if we want things to get better, it won't come from miracle devices, secret elites, or positive vibes. It'll come from hard, material change. The kind that takes work, risk, and solidarity. Not self-soothing fantasies. Because the truth is scarier than the lie. No one is coming to save us, but that also means the opposite is true. We're the only ones who can save each other. Have a good night, everyone.
Good day, everyone. How are you? Okay, so the official announcement of MedBeds has just been made on Trump's Truth social account. This video has reached a lot of people, and has now been removed. However, some of us have saved that video, and I'm going to show you it right now. But first, I want to explain something. Pardon me. This video mentions MedBed cards. Okay, do not buy a MedBed card. It is a scam. Okay, the MedBed cards in this video, the Trump administration and the White Hats are using to track criminals. Okay, trap and track, or track and trap people using or wanting to cause harm to the MedBed centers and the MedBed community. So do not purchase a MedBed card. Anything that involves MedBeds is free. And I mean free. No processing fee, no administration fee, nothing. They're all free. F-R-E-E. Do not purchase anything. Now, After this video was posted on Trump's Truth Social account, hours later it was removed to get people to talk. That is the official announcement of MedBeds. So today, my friends, is a great day, and here is the video. Take care and have a beautiful, beautiful day.